So, Jen, we are a year and a half into the pandemic. And probably a year and 8 months since I tried to get you to do a podcast with me. And we are finally sitting down and doing a podcast.
No, it's almost 2 years. Before the marketing greenhouse started, you wanted to start a podcast. You remember that?
And you were like, you're crazy. And I'm like, yeah. And now you really know I'm crazy after 2 years with me. But yeah, we honestly just decided to bite the bullet and do it this week because we don't have much going on right now in our lives. You know, we just had some free time. No, but we had a lot to talk about, and we're just trying to figure out the best platform to do it on and decide we were just going to go for it. So here we are. I'm assuming most of you who are here for this first one know who we are basically, like on a basic level. But yeah, we have the Marketing Greenhouse, which is our marketing agency, and Jen and I both have our own blogs separately, and we both have one kid. I was like, we both have two kids. We both have one. Jen has a daughter and I have a son. They're very close in age. They're almost 3.
Yep.
And we're both pregnant again. And we thought, one of the questions we've been asked a lot by our audience is, what does maternity leave look like for us as like small business owners? And we have spent some time figuring that out. And so we thought we'd like record a podcast and share kind of, I guess, our tips. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but how we're handling it this time. But some of my favorite podcasts that I listen to, and they like start with their highs and lows, and I always love that. So let's start off. Jen, what's your high for the week? Or do we start with low?
Start with a low?
Start with a low.
Okay, well, that one's easy. I'm still in an Airbnb.
Yes.
We're still figuring out our next steps, and that is frightening sometimes. We can't do laundry there. It's not nearly like the home that we lived in before, so that's definitely the low.
You're like a college kid. You go to your parents to do laundry.
I do. I do. Absolutely. What's your low?
My low is, so I'm in my 3rd trimester. I'm 31 weeks this week. And Jen and I are pretty, well, obviously we're incredibly grateful. Like, we both struggle with pregnancy and being pregnant. Mm-hmm. We're not those people that just like, you know, those people that are like, I really enjoy pregnancy. Like, I'm at my best when I'm pregnant. I think I'm at my worst when I'm, especially my 3rd trimester. Well, first gave me a run for my money too. But yeah, I'm in my 3rd trimester. I like have a very strange aversion to food right now where I just like nothing's exciting me. I usually love food. I usually get very excited for dinner and like cooking dinner and stuff. And I'm just like, everything's blah right now. So yeah, I'm like in my 8-week countdown and ready to bake this baby and get it out and have a drink. What's your high?
So my high, I kind of have 2 highs. It was a pretty good week. So aside from sharing that we're pregnant, we booked our first post-pandemic trip. So we haven't traveled since March of 2020, like the first week of March. Mm-hmm. And we booked our first trip. We're going to Portland, Maine. And it's also the first time that Matt and I will have gone away on vacation, just the 2 of us.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
We have family in town, so we get a lot of like 1-2 nights to ourselves, like in the city. Yeah. But we haven't done a vacation, so I'm very excited. It's
totally different to like be away for 3 nights. I think I was telling you, like, that's like our sweet spot. Like, we love those like 4-day vacations, and obviously very lucky to do it. But if you can, I think that's so important. Yeah. So that's super exciting. Yeah. When are you going?
We're going towards the end of August.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So the weather will be good.
Yeah.
It was tough picking a place, like, I feel like August you're usually home. So it was tough kind of picking a place where you don't want it to be too hot because being pregnant, I hate the heat. It just doesn't feel good on my body.
We went to South Carolina in August once, and it was just like 110 degrees the whole time. It was just hot and
that doesn't
sticky.
sound fun.
Yeah.
Someplace where we could relax, hang out, eat Portland. Good food. Yeah.
I've not been there, but I've heard so many incredible things about it. 2 years ago, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, Food and Wine named it like the best food city.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm sure they have a list of great restaurants and everything.
Yeah.
Good seafood. Lobster rolls in Chicago right now are like $40. I don't know if you've tried to. This is my East Coast coming out. No, East Coast seafood. It's like not cheap, but it's like so much.
Well, it's so more plentiful.
And it's also so fresh and like so good. And so I'm like, I don't know. And yeah, there's like a lobster shortage this year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yeah, there's a lobster shortage. And so like everyone has their like lobster rolls at like $38. And I'm like, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
I did not know that.
So eat lots of lobster rolls when you're there.
I will. It's my favorite, so I will.
Let's jump into this maternity leave.
Yeah, the topic that gives me the most anxiety, owning a business.
Jen, I've gotten like, I was going to say late night, but no, Jen's not up late at night.
No.
Early morning texts and emails from her that are just like, freaking out about it. And I always know that Jen's like on a roll when I get like multiple emails before like 6 a.m. And I'm like, okay, here we go. It's going to be a day. Or like, we should talk about this. We should talk about this.
Yeah.
A couple of slacks, early morning slacks. Jen knows that I probably won't answer them for an hour, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So what did your first, let's like roll it back a little. What did your first maternity leave look like?
So my first maternity leave was interesting because I was, transitioning out of my corporate job. Mm-hmm. So I took maternity leave, which I thought was a brilliant idea at the time, and we all survived, so it's fine. But overlapping launching a business and having a baby, I'd been doing it as a side hustle for 3 years. Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is just a natural progression. Like, it'll be fine. Mm-hmm. But having a new baby is hard.
Is it?
It's a challenging time period, and because I launched my own business at the same time as having a baby, everything that seemed like a challenge seemed like it was because of having a business.
Gotcha.
Not just because we had a baby.
Right. That makes sense.
So especially the first 6 months, it was really hard to separate challenges from business.
Well, Emmy wasn't in daycare either, right?
Correct. So we had a 4-month maternity leave, and then Matt took, I think, 8 weeks.
Okay.
It was either 6 or 8 weeks, but I'm pretty sure it was 8 weeks because her first 6 months, she was just home with us. Mm-hmm. And then we had a nanny who came a couple days a week.
Oh, okay.
For 3 months. And then Emmy started daycare at 9 months.
Okay.
Which 9 months is when their separation anxiety sets in.
Yeah.
And so she sobbed her little sassy face off every day. Honestly, all the way up until she was 15 months old and we were like pulling her out because of the pandemic.
Oh my gosh.
She sobbed every day at drop off.
Emmy like will dig her heels in. And,
she sure does.
And
she would like recoup as soon as we would leave.
Yeah.
But
she wanted to make sure you felt it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she definitely knows how to hit Matt harder than me.
Totally. Like I don't even know that she was doing it like because she was sad. Like I feel like knowing Emmy, she was just doing it because she was like
she's making a point.
Making a point, exactly.
Yeah.
I love her.
She's good at that. So I had a 4-month maternity leave, but I only took 4 weeks, like where I didn't do anything for work.
Okay.
Because at the time I had a team of 4 that were working for me.
Wow.
Yeah, which sounds kind of crazy now thinking back on it. But I had a team of 4 working for me, and I didn't think I could take much more time than that.
Yeah. Which is kind of what we're running into this time, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
It's not that,
Like, I find it as a business owner in general, we're talking about maternity leave, but I find it more stressful to completely take my foot off the gas than to just scale it back and be consistent.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that, like, I'm not one of those people that, like, when I go on vacation, some people, like Kyle likes to, like, just delete his Slack and, like, I like to, like, know what's going on just so that I don't jump back into, like...
Yeah, I don't like the extreme highs and lows. Like, I feel like we already run into that being business owners.
Totally.
There's very extreme highs and lows. Like, Jessie and I always joke around. We'll either feel like millionaires or, like, we're going to fold up shop.
Yep. At any given moment of any given day.
Like, we're either like, oh, my God, we're crushing it. Oh, my God, what are we doing? And our business is pretty consistent, all things considered.
Yeah.
So we're fortunate with that. But yeah, I agree. Like if you step out and then you come back in and clients aren't happy or something, or just something's pivoted, it's just, it's very stressful to jump back in.
I agree. So you had like, you had like a combo of last time. Like a combo between like kind of a corporate leave and then like you jumped into your own business.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, maternity leave last time felt refreshing because I had been working 2 jobs for 3 years.
Okay.
So taking 4 weeks where I did nothing,
felt like
that. I mean, the first 2 weeks with Matt home felt like vacation, to be honest.
You keep saying that, and it's so funny because I had such a different experience.
I mean, I'm sure it won't be that way this time because I have a toddler and it'll be the dead of winter, but it felt like vacation. And then after that, just being able to focus on one job.
Right.
Felt good.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. You were balancing a lot.
Yeah. It's still, still scary. Starting out is scary.
Of course. It's always scary. I think it's like we're going to be 2 years in and it's still like,
yeah,
like all the time.
I agree.
I don't know too many like business owners that it's not like, doesn't always feel a little bit like.
Yeah. Your feet are always held to the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you?
So last time we had an interesting like journey to child. We moved to, Kyle and I both like quit our jobs and moved to Chicago. Right before our wedding. Don't recommend that because like it was like what, 2 or 3 months before our wedding, and like
all those wedding bills at the end.
Yeah, like those checks, you're just like writing those big checks like left and right.
It's and like buying a house.
It is totally like buying a house, and it's just like you were just bleeding, like hemorrhaging money, and at the end you're just like, are you serious? Another check? Like who else needs a check here? And so yeah, we didn't have jobs and we were, so that was fun. Kyle was freelancing, and so he like was working, full-time freelance. So like it wasn't like we had, no income, but it was special. And anyway, so we were like kind of like, let's just get through the wedding. It was also hard because we got married in Mexico, so it would like when I was like looking for jobs, it was like weird because then I kept backing up to like, oh, and then like I need to be gone for 2 weeks, like to go to Mexico. Like you can't do that when you're trying to start a job. So I think like we moved in late November, and by January, no one hires over Christmas or like over the holiday season. And by January we were just like, okay, like we'll do everything after the wedding, like, jump in hardcore job stuff. And after the wedding, so we went on a mini moon in Tulum for 2 days after our wedding, and then like came back, and 10 days later I realized I was pregnant.
Pretty productive 2 days.
So that was quick, which was not. It was a surprise. It was not planned. And lots of tequila in Mexico.
Yeah.
And so I was very sick my first trimester. I was also like, and I think it's a little bit different because I grew up in DC and lived in New York and everything else. And so like, I think like here in the Midwest, and Chicago is still like a big city. I'm not taking anything away from Chicago, but you have people get married, have kids a little bit younger.
Yeah.
Even like a couple of years, whereas like I was like the first person and still am. Like I have a couple friends now, like on my second pregnancy that are having kids, but like most of my friends are just still like single, living their best lives in New York City, and so like no one was pregnant. So honestly, that first pregnancy was super difficult. It was very unexpected. Kyle luckily got a job the week we found out I was pregnant.
Oh, so, that's good.
Did I? No, I didn't say my high yet. What is my high for the week? I had something. Oh, I'm turning 30 next week.
Yeah.
I told Jen, I was like, Jen, I'm turning 30 next week. And she goes, I don't know what my response to that is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like,
you're old. Are we celebrating it? I'm a few years older than Jessie, so that's why.
So Kyle and I are going out of town for a few days too. So that'll be really exciting. We're just like, we were thinking about maybe flying somewhere, but I just like don't want to be on a flight right now. Like I'm so uncomfortable doing anything. And so just going to Michigan, like a couple hours away for a couple nights. My mom's going to come and yeah, kid free again.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
It's like a fake baby moon. I don't know. It's just a quick right before.
Could be a real one.
Yeah, I guess. Michigan.
Yeah.
I'm like, eh. No, I love Michigan. It's great. It'll be fun. Anyway, so we've had good weeks. Not too much to complain about. By the time we had Teddy, I was like just kind of like starting off in real estate, but then, the weird thing is like real estate, there's like so much upfront that you have to do. Mm-hmm. And childcare, especially when they're that young, is so expensive.
Yes.
Like, and so it was just like such a hard, and I'm sure you guys, a little bit with your business, but like you were more established, but like it was a hard balance to figure out like, how do I put him in childcare and like hemorrhage $2,000+ a month,
right,
when I don't have the income yet? You know what I mean? It was like just like a really
trying
hard
to build to that income.
Exactly. So it was for a couple months. I was just like, I just can't figure out like the balance here. And then I like got my real estate license during that time. Thought I was going to do real estate and was blogging, just like kind of doing some odd jobs here and there. And then that was kind of my maternity leave. But like my maternity leave was also me like, what am I going to do next? Like, and last time my mom was here, like we just didn't know what we were doing, and like he just went back straight to the office. So, and my mom was here for 2 weeks and then he took some time off, but like not really. It was just, he was new at his job. He didn't feel like he could, so, which is fair. He also was the only one with a job. So we couldn't really sacrifice that. So anyway, it was difficult, but I ended up finding a job and went back full time as the social media editor at the Every Mom at like 3.5 months, I think, when Teddy was like 3.5 months. And then he went full time to daycare. Yeah. So that was like for almost a year. And then that's when I just like wanted more flexibility. I was still like interested in like running my own business, doing my own thing. And that's when I reached out to you. Yeah. And that's how we met.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so it's going to look different this time. Obviously, we're a bit more established in our business, but also have like been through a pandemic. So I feel like we've gotten really good at pivoting and everything.
It's funny because launching during the pandemic with 2 toddlers at home, infant childcare being so expensive.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about this. I was not a fan of the newborn phase. I did not feel like it was.
I didn't love it.
Yeah, but I think it was like you had a better ease into it. Kyle also went back to work like he had like no paternity leave last time. Yeah. He had I think 2 weeks, which is extended this time, thank goodness. But
I was always, like you hear from entrepreneurs all the time that their income is so variable. Yeah. And so I knew that I could afford 2 days of childcare a week, hands down. Mm-hmm. So that's what we did. Gotcha. And that's how I've become this efficient machine. Because I only had 2 days every week to get all my work done. Yeah. And then the other 3 days, like one day I would hang out with Emmy, but the other 2 days I would just figure out how to work like over her nap times and be very scheduled about it. And like pop in and out of workflows. So when
you did.
Yeah. So when the pandemic hit, I felt like I adopted quickly because I was like, okay, it's like back to my newborn phase where I just like, I've got 20 minutes. I'm going to get this done or whatever. But yeah, that's the toughest part in the beginning is figuring out how do you balance like what you can afford, but what you need to build. Right. Yeah. And even though we've done well and we're 18 months in, I mean, both of us are only taking 4 to 6 weeks. Right. Where we're totally shut off just because we're dependent on each other to get things done. Right. And I think that that's like the upside and downside of flexibility is like the upside is you have the flexibility. The downside is if you're not working, there's no check. I mean, like, more or less like, and this kind of like goes into like we kind of broke down like 3 things that we're doing to make it work. But one of the things we're doing so that we can have some consistent income is working ahead. Mm-hmm. And so like we're packing in, I'll be packing in August and you'll be packing in later, but like working ahead so that we can like. To your point on like. Jen is like very good at, it's like you're still doing the work. It's just, packed in. It's just longer hours earlier on. Exactly. I mean, we're fortunate to where we have a handful of clients. We want to make sure that they're happy and taken care of. Mm-hmm. Like even though most of our clients are women and they get it, that doesn't mean that business stops because we're having children.
Totally. I think we use Asana, which is like...
It's a project management
tool. Okay. And so we've like really like broken down our projects in there into pieces where it's like, okay, we can actually get this done in this amount of time, which I think has made it so that we're able to take time off and still...
Yeah, I mean, my goal is that our clients don't notice that we've had 2 babies.
Yes. Which, that's an interesting part of all of this. I think like that.
That's not to say they wouldn't be supportive. They're totally supportive.
Totally.
People.
But it's like it's their business.
We get to help people build their empires. So that doesn't stop.
The second thing that has worked very well for us is the revenue planner.
So I started using a revenue planner when I ran my own business. So I, this will make Jessie laugh, but I have a harder time turning off than finding the right amount of effort to put in. I have no problem putting in the maximum amount of effort to achieve what's necessary. But my struggle is knowing when to actually just stop and take a break, because I have a bad habit of working towards burnout.
Yeah.
So revenue planner is really helpful. I've done this for our business. I've done it for my own business and I teach all of my clients this as well whenever we do one-to-one advising, is breaking out your revenue streams, like clearly identifying them, but then also identifying how many clients or products or services do you sell within each of those, so that every month you're essentially just filling out a template of where your money is coming from.
Right.
And you can see if there's a gap, like, I normally do 2 brand collaborations a month and now I don't have it this month.
Right.
I can offset it with something else, or I can go hustle and drum up some business. But that way too, once it's full, you focus on the next month, or you take a break, or whatever it may be. So that's where our revenue planner has helped immensely. And we do that for a lot of our clients too.
Yeah. I think it's something that like always allows our clients to like taking like big projects and breaking them down into like bite-sized pieces. And so like one of the things we've done a lot is over the last month or so, just like really done a lot of forecasting of like what our business looks like, what needs to get done, what we can do to like overperform for our clients while still taking the time off. Like with understanding even just like where we are and how much we do want to make and how much like we need to make for the business, for ourselves, etc.
Right.
And I think sometimes you look at it and you're like, oh, like we're totally good. And then sometimes you look at it and you're like, whoa, we really need to like ramp up here, and that's a nice part. And I think that another thing it's taught me is like in small business, it's like you never can have your eggs all in one basket. You need kind of like multiple revenue streams, even within one business. And so I think that that's been a great way for us and for our clients, that when we're walking them through that to loosen their shoulders, because like it's so hard sometimes when you're just, and I get like, it's when you're working on your own business, you're like, how much money do I want to make? As much as possible. You know what I mean? Like, and so often it's like, that's not really a goal, or it's such a, like you said, you can't turn off like with that goal. There's never any, like, you will burn out. And so I think that the revenue planner has helped so much figure out like, oh, like that's like not going to make me enough money to get to where I want to go. What else could I do to, I guess, like be productive or bring in income? And I don't know. I think that that's like been a great way for us to like come up with new programs or come up with new ideas to help our clients, or like plus ups. And I don't know. The revenue planner has been like, I think what has made me the most comfortable with maternity leave, to be able to forecast based on past, like what happened last year. And like last year we had like an incredible Q4. And so like knowing that, it's not guaranteed, but hopefully, this year will repeat in some capacity.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Well, and then we also, which we should share the link to after this, but a content planning template.
Yeah.
Where we, I think one of our secret sauces is that we try to create formulas for as many things as possible, because it allows your brain to just settle and focus on the areas that you need to fix.
Totally. And I think content planner can be great for like individuals if you're like a content creator, but also for businesses. I think businesses forget sometimes that they need to content plan too. And that's like
Right.
where they get really stuck in like the digital media or digital marketing space is like,
Yeah, because it's planned out. Between between having the workload planned out and the revenue planned out, like we know what to expect. You know, and then we've had to make some choices around, you know, potentially not taking on new clients.
right.
So that we can make sure the clients we have are perfectly serviced.
Totally. I also think it's really nice this year because, you know, last year it was like a lot of guessing, especially at this point. And, you know, you never know like 100%, but it's nice to have some sort of like, I always say like when you're looking at, not I, but like when you're looking at a blank canvas, it's so much harder to like figure out what to do next versus like when you have ideas and bullet points and I don't know.
Yeah, it becomes so much more plug and play.
Yeah. So let's see the third thing I think that's going to help us a lot is like, I think we were just like expert pivoters. Like,
yeah,
you could be like, asteroid's going to hit Earth tomorrow. We'd be like, cool, we got it.
Yeah.
like we have, I don't know, like if there's any crazier situation or I don't want to know if there is like that we could have started this business in.
Right.
We launched like March 23rd.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
like,
the idea was fully baked like end of February with the goal to launch in 30 days. And then the world shut down around March 13th. And I was like, well,
yeah,
we talked about going. I think we should still go.
Yeah. And luckily,
because at the time, you know, it was just 14 days to flatten the curve.
I know. Oh my God. What a life. But yeah. And so we had to like figure it all out, you know, working with toddlers and our spouses and being at home and also like going completely virtual with all clients. Like, I think we always thought we would start more locally, which was honestly like a nice part of the business because that was actually like a great thing.
Yeah.
Because we got to end up, you know, we ended up working with clients in LA and New York and I don't even know, all over Miami. I feel like we were working with clients all over. But yeah, it was totally, you know, Zoom meetings, like those early Zoom days when we were just like dropping calls, you know, like I mean, like all, it was just like so chaotic or like kids were running in and you were just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I think that that's like a big thing, setting up your plan A, but also like having a plan B ready to go.
Yeah.
And knowing that you might hit plan C. Like, it's just, you know,
Right.
I think especially when we're talking about like childbirth and stuff, like
Plan to be done early. And I think the other big piece is like, know your non-negotiables.
Mm-hmm.
Like our retainer clients are always taken care of.
Yes.
We can say no to new work.
Right.
But we know how to get that retainer client work done.
Right. With small business in general, it's like,
so that they're always taken care of.
Totally. And then we also have like, you know, if shit really hit the fan, like we have a lot of backups, you know, like if I was completely out of commission for 6 weeks or something and had the baby early, you know what I mean? Like, knock on wood. It's a really simple, straightforward birth like last time. But if we did, like, we also have like a team of people that can jump in.
Right.
And cover, you know, it's like, I feel like we would never just be completely
and that's why we're so planned out. We've built out now. We've got a team of 3.
Mm-hmm. There's like a month that I could, both of us, but you know, like I'm coming up first, but like could have a baby. And
right.
So it's like we can plan to.
And so we have to keep everything buttoned up.
Yeah. Other people depend on us.
It's true.
It's scary. And now 2 kids each.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, I don't know.
So that's what we're doing.
Yeah. I feel like maternity leave.
Plan ahead. You got to take something.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace. Know your non-negotiables.
And know yourself. I think that's another thing. Like,
yeah.
If you are someone that feels like last time, you know, again, you don't know.
If it's your first.
If it's your first, right? Like, give yourself a little bit more time. I think we both, like, last time felt more ready at 4 to 6 weeks. And so, like, we'll see what happens this time. But I think that we're both, like, kind of feeling we'll be in the same-ish boat. But I think, like, know yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, as long as you're not client-facing, you can come back sooner.
Yeah.
Than if you are client-facing.
Totally.
Like, when I came back, I was doing, the first time, I was doing some brand collaboration work and writing for my blog. Like, that was all stuff I could do at 2 a.m.
Right.
During a feed or whatever.
Right.
Whereas if you immediately have to come back and be dressed, you can't look presentable easily.
It's true.
It takes a while to look presentable.
Though we have like kind of hacked it with our headbands. It's like a big joke with our clients. People are like, you guys always have on headbands. We're like, yeah, because it like makes us look presentable in 3 seconds.
Right.
Get a good headband.
I'll be rocking one today. But yeah, so and then having a business partner where one can be client facing and the other can stay behind the scenes helps too.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise,
maybe that should be a new service we offer: maternity leave planning.
Yeah. Right. I know. Let's see how ours goes first.
Yeah.
Then we'll offer it as a service.
Hopefully, more than 5 people listen to this.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, 8-week countdown for me. How long do you have? I feel like Jen and I have been pregnant together the whole time, and it's like very strange that she's not.
No, I'm not even halfway.
Yeah, but.
And I'm already sore, which is bad. My lower back already really hurts.
Second pregnancies are just they're really something.
Yes, they are.
First pregnancies are too. I don't know. Oh. Do you feel like your first was worse because you were sick, right?
Oh, I was sick as a dog. I couldn't the first 24 weeks, and it was such a mental mind game because everyone was like, "You just got to get to 12. You just got to get to 14. You just got to get to 16. Oh, for sure by 18 you'll be good." And the first 24 weeks I was sick. And so every week that came, like I would just like wait for the app to change over to show me, the size of the baby's a pickle or whatever.
Yeah.
And I felt so sick. And like I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I had no energy. And if you haven't picked up on it, I like to be busy and on the go. So that was just such a complete flip for me.
I felt I didn't go till 24 weeks. It led up around 14 weeks, but I was very sick and I felt the same. Like I didn't feel exhausted this time in the first trimester. I'm definitely feeling it more now.
Yeah.
But last time in the first trimester, I felt like I could sleep like 18 hours a day.
I think it's because you're used to sleeping.
Yeah, that's true. I think you're like, it's just such like a...
Yeah, it's such a jolt to your body.
Right. And now it's like, we're not really used to...
But yeah, I was so sick and I kept, hopefully this isn't TMI for a podcast, but like I kept air gagging, which was the worst.
I didn't throw up at all last time. I did this time. I threw up a lot this time, but like last time I felt the same. And I just wanted to because I felt like it would give me some relief.
Correct. I remember when I finally did throw up, I was like, oh, I mean, like it's over. That's great.
Yeah, it's like you get like some sort of relief. And yeah, but like that when you are just nauseous and you can't throw up, it's like...
No, this pregnancy, I feel fine. Like I'm not sick. My brain is a little foggy, but my body is just really sore.
Yeah.
Like by 5 o'clock, I'm like a little old lady that just wants to lay down.
I'm sore too, but I don't know. I feel like I keep telling Kyle, like, I'm like, this baby's in my hips already. Like, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Kyle's like so freaked out. Kyle's like terrified that we're gonna like have the baby in the car.
Which is my friend just almost did.
I know. And then I told him that story and he was like, great. We're going to have this baby in the car. So hopefully we don't have a baby in the car.
Yeah.
And because we also, my mom has like, it's going to come in at some point, but anyway.
That's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day.
Well, if you've made it this far, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. And we have more good stuff coming up. We will see you soon. Or not talk to you. What do you... I guess we're not listening, but like... We'll see you back soon.